Today we're going to start with some breaking news from St. John's
where the
County.
police say a 13-year-old girl who's been missing for about 15 hours.
This is a photo that the St. John County Sheriff's Department
and I want
provided.
you to take a good look at it.
5 2000s to 1 after she was 13 years
Kristen
old.
Bailey Matic. The police quickly located
The main suspect in the case is Idon Fushi.
The boy is only 14 years old.
As the investigation deepened, the detective discovered
Under the innocent appearance of the
there's
black
a
AI.
coldness and a cruel fear. It's unbelievable. Besides, the mother of the black AI was also involved in this. So these two assassins are our. What did they do? St. Joe's is a region in northern Florida near the Sun View. With beautiful scenery, great geographic location. The population has risen from 18,000 to 90,000. Justin's family lives in Dobon, Brazil. A luxury residential area. It's a residential area. Only the rich can live. 2000 to Kristen in 7th grade at a private school. She's a confident, active, kind person. Christian doesn't just study well. He's also a member of the school's cheerleader team. At the same time, they are often sent to compete. But no one expected that just a week after the cheerleading tragedy struck her. The 5th of August 2000 is Saturday. Enlist the weekend. Christian and her parents visited her sister's house. After a good day, about 11:45 p.m. Kristen and his parents came home. For having a long tiring day, as soon as they arrived, they went to bed. But the next morning, when Kristen's mother was preparing breakfast at 9:40 and called Kristen up, suddenly I didn't see her answer. Room door opened. Justin's parents immediately realized
Very
something
serious.
Their daughter wasn't home all night. They immediately contacted all their
Friends
relatives and neighbors around, but unfortunately, no one knows where she is. At 10 a.m., they reported their daughter missing to the police. The whole neighborhood immediately organized its own
Distributing
search
leaflets.
and participate in the police investigation. After interrogating many people, the
First
police had a
sister
clue.
of
Kristen said, last night, she saw Christian surreptitiously video call for
In
a boy.
terror.
I don't know when Christian left the house. Another friend named Onisa. It also provides an important information. It's about 30 in the morning. Boy sees Justin and Ida. Justin's school friend shows up at his door. 14-year-old DNA in 8th grade at Justin's school. Abza said they played together about half an hour ago when Justin and Iden left. Through security camera check, the police found out at 1:14 on Sunday morning Justin and Iden walking near Durban area, Brazil. Follow the camera about 30 minutes after 1:05 they showed up at North Senaton Street, towards the front of a lake. Unfortunately, there are cameras in that area. I can't record the next scene. However, the Black AI's house is just a street away. Until 3 to 7
Black
a.m.
AI
image recording camera running alone. Then 3 hours and 3 minutes. The Black AI front door camera shows him coming home, barefoot shoe handle. Police quickly to the Black AI house and take him back to interrogation headquarters in the police car. The Black AI has recorded a video posted to a copy snap with a message
not
in the police car. Justin, where have you been? At first glance, the AI looked like a naughty boy. But the police later revealed that after filming the video, AI's attitude changes 180 degrees. You start to get irritated and mutter to yourself, maybe I'll go to jail for this. DNA came home at 3:30 a.m. but he couldn't explain because it's 15 minutes. It took 2.5 hours. When the investigator gives evidence from the surveillance video, is Mark the guy who killed Maya. The police used a piece of paper is placed near the police car's wiper. Even though there's no fingerprints or DNA on it, but there's the killer's handwriting. Just compare Mark's handwriting. The police can identify on the piece of paper. Is he who they're looking for or not? So the police collected 10 samples. As you can see, the two lines are very similar. DNA changes the story, especially the writing style. This is the most obvious identification point. The police have speculated that Maya's case was accidental. And Mark has a lot of criminal record, and he's a taxi driver. He roams the city every day. Maybe that day he saw Tamara walking alone on the road. That's consistent with the nature of the accident. Did not progress. This time he said they both went to the beach. August 16th, 13 days after the case happened in Athens. A woman working late at a company on Kensington Road. During that time, a man cut off the company's phone with a knife. The woman sees her opponent as aggressive. She thought that if she resisted,
He tried
her
to
life
kiss
would
Kristen,
be threatened,
but he said no,
so she
and they got
decided
into
to
a
lie
fight.
still and
After
not
the man
protest.
left,
She secretly recorded his license plate.
The killer
and
really
called the
showed
police.
up.
The police found a taxi based
The
on the
owner's
license
name
plate.
is Mark Ehrenruss.
He was reported by his brother, and his handwriting
There was enough
matches the
evidence that the
anonymous
police
piece of paper
immediately
perfectly.
arrested Mark.
I can't believe it was during
Kristen
Mark's
even
incarceration.
grabbed sensitive areas of
One
DNA.
of his prison friends gave the police some incredible
The prisoner
information.
said
The CD player that Mark used in prison, it's not his. It's a Japanese female student. Mark has been constantly bragging about his accomplishments with a fellow prisoner, leading to being accused after receiving news that the police confiscated
angry.
Mark's music player. There's a serial number on the back of the machine. When Megami's parents came home, found the bill for the player. It's a gift Megami bought herself. Serial
in Japan.
number on the bill exactly matches the serial
The
number
reporter
on Mark's
continued to
player.
tell the police
Megami was killed in a vacant lot. Then some of her clothes were burned. This is the gas station where Megami last disappeared. Because there's a vacant
on
lot
the evening
across
of
from
the
the
3rd
gas
of August,
station, there
the
was a small
firefighters
fire
found traces
in the
of
remnants. But other than that, there's no other.
The
reporter
finding.
went on to say, Mark threw Megami's body
Near
in
the
the
trash
trash.
can.
Unfortunately, after the crime, no one found the body in
DNA
the trash.
doesn't
The police
know if she
immediately
stand up,
checked the trash, but because it's been so many days, garbage is moved to landfill a long time ago. Then the police went to the landfill. A large number of police suffer from the stench to search for Megami bodies in millions of tons of trash. And after 11 days and nights, they finally found
in
her,
October
the devil in the
2001.
guise of Mark. Because he said he smoked too much
Has been
weed.
accused of murdering Maya.
30 years old and Mikomi Suzuki 18 years
Crime
old
must be
and
paid for.
When the case went to
2001.
trial, Mark pleaded not guilty. He said he didn't know these two people at all, but in the face of irrefutable evidence, he finally had to admit it. Mark has been married twice. He has a
both
condition
marriages have
called
failed.
Klinefelter syndrome. Normally, men have
And
the
I
XY
don't remember.
chromosome. But people with this syndrome, there will be one more
Turned
X
into
chromosome. XY. The main point of this disease is incomplete development of the testes. Create a psychological ghost that can't be
In my
fading.
mind,
He started to hate women, and then became a pervert
When asked
killer.
why they killed
then he
Maya
turned his
and
back
Mikomi,
and went straight home.
Mark
without
replied
looking back.
jokingly,
and treat these two people's lives like
Both
trash.
victims
were very young, especially
Her parents
sent her from Japan to Andorrals to
in the
study.
hope
that you learn many things, but you lost your life. If the police can't catch Mark, he will continue to kill many more. In May 2003, the Adele's court found
Guilty
Mark
in the murder
Ehrenruss
of Maya
guilty.
and Mikomi.
The investigator heard this story. Mark received two consecutive
This is a very
life
rare
sentences
case in
without
Australia.
parole. It's almost the heaviest sentence throughout the sentencing hearing. Mark didn't show any
has
emotion.
absolutely
no regrets. However, what is waiting for him? It's a severe punishment of the law. Mark will pay for his actions. Two murders solved. Immediately grinned. The unsub also received a price for his actions. I hope what he is punished for, it will ease the sadness of a loved one or victim. He deserves the proper punishment for my actions. Sometimes the installation of security cameras, it doesn't provide the safety we expect. The camera is just a means of support. There's no substitute for vigilance and provide absolute
But at
safety.
this point,
DNA asked to see a lawyer. The 6 crystal thief can
Or
disable
hide the camera.
make them useless. And today we're going to talk about a case where the unsub has gone through a
This
thick
is
camera
also
fence. In some of Florida's most thrilling cases, our story takes place
It's a
in
vibrant
Dovey City,
Florida,
about 24 miles from
with a
home.
population of about
so the interrogation had to
110,000.
end. TV is a high-end
Beautiful views
residential
by the
area
water.
with many villas. And the main character in this story, living in a riverside villa. There are 3 people living in this villa on TV. Jeong 6BA years old. His wife is Audrey Here Potter, 59 years old, and his 20-year-old
older
son
daughter
Amanda has moved out to live
Jiang
separately.
was born
before.
in Taiwan in the year 1901.
Meanwhile,
At
the
the
police
age of
search
11,
team got
his
the bad
family
news
moved
after
to
high
Japan.
school graduation. He attended Kyoto
After
Gakuen
consecutive
University
bachelor's
and master's degrees about entomology.
Year 197.
Mr. Jiang
Away
attended
in the
the
US
university
to
continue to study for a PhD. And then he completed his postdoctoral thesis at Lugina State University at 6:06 that afternoon. Year 1985. John became a professor of insects study at University of Florida. Thanks to excellent research
Professor
results,
Zhang reaped both fame
he
and
didn't
fortune.
just become a famous termite expert in America
To be
inducted into the Inventors Hall of Fame, but also make a lot of money from selling termite control methods and related equipment. A neighbor joined the search. While studying in Japan, Mr. Jiang met Mr. Potter. A rich lady is also studying here. They're both attracted to each other's personalities.
Jiang
and
came
talents.
from
Japan to the University
and
of
after
Hawaii.
they
got married, they moved to Florida. It's a rich kid. Audrey is not short of money. In addition to taking care of 2 children, you spend time on discovered Justin's body, music and other charitable activities. Her works of art have been exhibited many times. In her free time, and
she
for 9
volunteers.
years, she's spent over 1,000
For
hours
blind
helping
children
and
in
teaching
the
the
area.
neighboring community. People highly recommend this couple. But no one expected the tragedy to engulf the entire family. The tragedy begins in the forest. Monday, September 8, 2014. Audrey and Paige woke up later, not in time yet, because they had just traveled to Malaysia. Rescheduled time zone. Before traveling abroad, to ensure the safety of the house, they're installing surveillance systems with a 30-day free trial period. Let's see the situation in the house via mobile in real time. This system is very useful, with detection feature, motion, and automatically send alert when the door is open to the phone. While John received a warning message and saw
On the day
Justin's
I
son
should have
take a
gone to
group
school.
of friends home to
So
play.
he
He scolded his son from a distance. When forensics
On the
arrived
morning
at
of
the
September 8,
Justin was the first
drive
to
to
wake
community
up.
college around
2 hours
9
later
a.m.
at 11:30, Jiang driving University of Florida. I plan to have lunch and start teaching in the afternoon. At lunch, he used to take the phone out, view the situation through the surveillance Suddenly, I saw a man wearing a Justin mask covered in blood. Sneaking around the house. At that time, only his wife was reacting. The masked man began to unplug the phone screen. John thought that Justin's
He used to
son
cover
must
the
be
camera,
naughty,
so I
because
could
not
call
long
your
ago.
son
immediately. But Justin said he wasn't back from school
called
yet.
his
Wife, but she didn't answer. The victim was stabbed 114
Worried.
times. He told his son to quickly drive home to see the situation. At the same time, I tell you to be
Justin
careful. Drives like flying. And 15 minutes later, it's about 12:30. I walked into the house and saw the whole house in a mess. Surveillance camera plug is clearly withdrawn. Justin went into his most of the knives focused on the neck and hands, and saw the drawers open. The 2 knives in it are gone. Back to the living room. I kept walking and he
heard
found
the blood
water
on the
coming
floor
from the bathroom,
and his mother
hands
tied up.
and feet face down in the pool
You
of blood.
scream.
Get out of the bath and call your dad. I just tried CPR for my mom. Then you call the police. The victim tried to defend herself. Originally, he told police his mother killed herself but with then a knife. Tell the operator that it looks like a murder, because I realized later that my mother's hands and when the police and victim showed no signs of life. Through a thorough field examination, the police found a small knife outside the house. The front door was locked from the inside. The clothes are intact and there are no signs of the backyard. The side door here was broken through a small hole with a tool, enough for one person to get through. After entering the house, from the side door, the closet and the drawers in there are 6. The jewelry boxes are all over the floor. But the unsub many indoor surveillance cameras are disconnected. That suggests the unsub may know their location. There's blood all over the house, but on the left floors and on a rug in the living room. The police found a severed plastic the glass door outside the bathroom based on knife wounds and defensive wounds. The police guessed that the victim resisted before being restrained. After pumping out all the water, the police found a second knife. Justin confirmed that this was a gift from his mother. "I know you have a hobby of collecting knives," written with a blue pen. No property was lost at the scene, and the suspect is very knowledgeable about the camera system. The police quickly ruled out the possibility that this was a theft. What this means is the victim's family became the main subject of the investigation. Amanda victim's daughter loved her mother while she moved out of this house. And on the right ankle is the smiley face, and working in Kentucky State. Alibi. He should be the first to be removed from the suspect list. Only the victim's husband and son remained. After combining the coroner's report, the investigators quickly focused their attention on Justin. He was the first to arrive at the scene. He's got to many suspicious spots. First of all, when you talk about going his mother right away to make sure he was safe, the body, go straight to your room. Why coincidence is both knives at the scene belonged to Chatter. After discovering my mother was murdered, why he said to the operator, "My mother stabbed herself and fell in the bathtub." More importantly, Justin the morning of both father and Justin, the police, but through investigation, school, teacher and classmate. The police said they didn't see him at cell phone. Justin said he didn't want his father to know he was skipping sleep until I get the phone. Investigator. By interview, Jeong said there was indeed a conflict between Justin and his parents. They have high expectations for their son. Justin doesn't like to learn any electronic medicine, frequent parties and truancy. Jeong and his wife are very worried about your business. Frequent reminders. Justin is somewhat rebellious and serious than family members. Justin knows where the camera is, covers, but his face doesn't the man someone with a thin body. He looks very much like a boy. A $20 bill. Jeong says only Justin knows where the camera is. Justin initially denied claims to have when the police contact the camera company to review the tape. The day of the case, they're told the date is gone. It turns out that Jeong and his wife are buying a 30-day after the expiration date. Data will be automatically deleted. The discovery of Justin's body is the 9th of August. The day of the trial is also the last day of the trial. So all the surveillance video has been automatically deleted. The police investigators interrogated Justin from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. on September 9th. Justin was tired and starting to get excited. He loved his mother. "I don't want to hurt my family. I don't know why I lied about my mother's death." Fastland wide. Justin denies killing his mother and hiding the crime. "I said I was in the interrogation all the time." The police did not collect 10 get any useful testimonies, so I had to let him go. Meanwhile, another group of cops checking neighborhood security discovered on the day of the crime. Justin leaves the house at 9:30 in the morning. Everyone quietly brought the bouquet and of flowers come back at 12:30 p.m. That's consistent with his testimony before 12:30. The camera didn't record Justin's car. The police have a theory that Justin is not the killer. Maybe it's because his friends went to the party at his house. Or not. Just in case, they interrogated every single friend. The police took Justin's friends to the station and get a collated DNA sample, lighting candles in memory of the girl. 10 days after the case is announced, the 18th of September 2014, DNA test results from the scene are available. The police found DNA of the suspect on the knife in the bathtub, and the blue rope on the living room floor matches a record in the database, but not Justin's or any of his friends. It's from a 20-year-old black male named. He was never on the list of suspects. The suspect's surprise. Derm Brazilis was born into a poor black family. Parents divorced early and three brothers raised alone. Grocery stores with very little force. You have to balance work and family. Maybe I understand my mother's difficult life. I study very hard at night. The father of the black AA is Jason and his mother. As a child, when I went to high school, he was influenced by spoiled children, gradually losing interest in learning. He dropped out of school, however, eventually became one. Diana was very generous to the people around her. He sells stolen food to pay for electricity, and Chris went to the interrogation room. The power of DNA is to dress up and rent a luxury car to go around the rich neighborhood. He breaks in during the day, but there's no eye to steal the victim's house. Was also targeted. He was arrested many times. Stolen in a nearby criminal neighborhood. Police say Diana broke into the home. Investigator, after seeing Justin and John respectively leave. There is no eye in the house, an experienced thief. He knows rich people have cameras. So the first thing you do when you get in the house is shut down the system. In Justin Donald's room, no money found. I only got to knives. And then at 6 o'clock in the bedroom, he was discovered by Don. The two immediately started a fight. We keep the whole family waiting in the same room. Donald tied up with wires and stabbed him to death with a knife. With DNA evidence, the investigator brought DNA to the station, just directly that he will be charged with murder. To save one. The trial is set for 2 years after 2016. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. He quickly came up with a bold plan. When it's discovered there's no other eye. Summer 2006. Donald West has been in prison still for 2 waiting years for the final trial. Several hearings. 15/7 as usual. Dermt attended a regular hearing. However, that day in less than a minute, Dermt take off handcuffs and run straight out of court. To the surprise of everyone ran down the police and jumped up. A waiting car quickly disappears. 3 people start a secret conversation. News of the escape of the accused from the Prague County Courthouse, LAN transmitted quickly. More than 8 hours passed without anyone seeing him. A viewer took a picture. Prisoner's uniform and handcuffs don't throw away. In the court hallway, during for hours. Police carry assault weapons and use business dogs to scour. And while we're talking about DNA, we're talking about the night of the crime. The court is looking for the killer. After the investigation, the police discovered DT is a man of extraordinary leadership, can be considered a brainwashing expert. In the last 2 years in prison, he's cheated on 3 of his girlfriends, one outside. These 3 girls help him collect money and prepare clothes to wear. Another friend agreed to do it. He's wearing jeans. The driver is always parked at the court exit. A month before escape, Temple T even bribed a prison guard to get the key. On the day of escape, 2 of the ambassadors, cellmates, used the courtroom due to pretend to still be wearing handcuffs. 2 of his relatives are now in court. They're constantly on the phone with the driver downstairs. After seeing the ambassador running down the hallway, these 2 relatives. However, this was immediately rejected by his situation. A large number of supporters believe that the night of numbness provide a lot of false clues. Some say he went to Texas. Someone said they saw him in Washington. Some even say he fled to Tahiti. It's made the police search a lot more difficult. She said, "I remember wrong. I was wearing khaki pants that day." The reward for his arrest also quickly increased from the initial $10,000 up to $50,000. And 5 days later, the police finally found at a Thailand hotel. A year later, in 2017, DNA this time he bribed another prisoner to help him get his cell phone. However, this time that Tsai secretly reported this information to his superiors. DNA glanced at his mother and Harry decided to hit him in the back with a stick. They let the prisoner pretend to agree to Dunt's request. Give him the phone. But this phone was taken by the FBI. Install a listening program. For the next 3 months, through listening to phone calls, the police discovered Prepares 8 new actors for
I'm
escape
wearing
plan.
military khaki
This
pants.
time the DNA wasn't just focused on escape. We teach these people how to testify falsely in court and then make an alibi trial process in 12 to thousandths. The two hard-potted cases lawyers are finally on trial. Excellently. They point out that although the anime of Dirt is found on knife and hanging rope, DNA's parents finally advised him to choose a cords used to tie people up, not on the second knife. And it's not anywhere else in the house. It's very unreasonable, and it could be the police inspector. Wrong result. Adola. The office of the orgy. A former employee who worked for the police. Public disclosure. And don't change it. The police's criminal science lab. There are many non-standard processes. DNA's lawyers captured the lab results were not reliable, and it could be the negligence of the inspector. DNA may have been transferred to the crime scene. It's possible that the DNA we collected 10 years ago was contaminated, so there's no evidence that the dirt was present at Prosecutor Maria has a different view on this. This whole conversation was recorded by the police, the forensic expert. Even if there is a problem during the test, it's just a matter of the amount of data, more or less. So there's no doubt about it. Dirt was definitely at the scene of the crime at the trial. The defense is focused on two other suspects, John and Justin. They said John had a criminal motive, even though he is rich. He still wants to be rich. If John was the last stranger to see the victim alive, he didn't call 911, he called the police. Tell your son to go home. When the investigator interrogates, John said he saw a white man, tall, skinny in surveillance camera. He even said he looked like a boy. But in court, he suddenly changed his testimony. Accused Christie. I can't remember if I was black or white. More. Ji-young's anime was found everywhere, so we can't rule out the possibility that he was the perpetrator. Outside of DNA. The police also released an earlier recording of Donald attempting to recruit others as well as locating himself at the time of the case. Finally, after 5 days of intense discussion, arrived the next morning at 3:30. The jury has found. They said that Mr. T should be convicted of second-degree murder. However, when the judge asked each of the jurors, the situation has a 180-degree turn. A jury member said no. And this person is the last leader. He said he saw DNA. And the lawyers were delighted with the second-degree murder attorney's office. They beat each other. Congratulations. At that moment he thought, what a world this is. That after killing people, getting out of prison like that. So in that moment, he decided to obey the voice of the heart. Because a 12-person jury couldn't reach a consensus, Bottle has been charged with second-degree murder. Upon hearing the result, Dirt's smile was immediately just a month later. The 1st of March 2002, Donald T's appeals trial officially begins. This time he's like a deflated balloon. He seemed to know his fate. He bowed his head throughout the entire process. Even if the jury comes in after 2 months of trial, the 18th of March 2022, but only 2 weeks later, the jury unanimously found Number 1 is a friend of the killer's family. Ji-young and Justin said they did not seek the death penalty. I don't want more people to die. Finally, the judge sentenced Dirt to life in prison without parole. After hearing the Dirt verdict, Ra's disobedience even declared his innocence, so the case is closed today. The chief prosecutor raised Adele's charge. When the time comes for you to enjoy yourself, something happens. Fortunately, if the killer was brought to light, then the son and the father must be very distressed and wronged. What do you think about this? Today we will find out about the story of a man disappear without a trace. It leaves the family and the whole community from level to murder. That's James's story. James Harrison The 15th of October 1900 to 6 in Christine Town. He's a man with a special destiny. When World War II broke out, James did not hesitate to join the US Navy in fierce battles where the Pacific Front for 3 years, back after the war. To level 1, his life took a different turn when he met Jenny. They married on to
quickly
190
build a
over
home in
Miami,
not
Florida.
long after. The joy continued when our first
Michael
son
was
Jimmy
born
was just a
born.
year
The
later.
Harris family's life seemed calm to pass in silence and happiness, but time does not wait for AI. And James also crossed the
difference
threshold of
between
these
30.
two crimes is huge. In 1900, he decided to invite his brother. William co-founded the James Window Company. In Titus View, it's 200 miles north of Miami. The mysterious disappearance. 7/10 years 19 years 8. James has an important date at the
It's
beach
only
in
20
Cuba.
miles from
that
the point.
He drives his favorite blue and white car. At the time of the DNA case, he
carried
was $500 carefully stored in the
Like
storage
every day.
compartment. The meeting is expected to end soon. But when the sun goes
James
down,
is
not back yet. Jenny, his wife, started to worry. She knew that her husband never spent the
Arbitrarily.
night outside. If anything happens, I will contact
She
you
was
immediately.
so
worried that she didn't hesitate
charged
to call
with
the police
second-degree
immediately.
murder.
At the time, the police couldn't believe
It's
that the
this
beginning
call.
of one of the strangest cases
Bang,
in history.
Florida.
As soon as I heard from Jenny, Titusville police immediately launched a large-scale
Around the
search
area
where James disappeared. At the same time, suitable
But after
for
7
Miami
days
police
of relentless
extended
effort,
search, he could be tried in juvenile court. Search results are still zero, just at the time it all seemed. It was then that a strange
Tito's
event
View Police.
happened. I got a call from the Jacksonville Police Department. The voice on the front of the Kia line
Is there a
echoed
man
defiantly.
named James in your
That
neighborhood?
name they've been hunting for all week to no avail. They asked about James's situation. But when the story is over, if convicted, the enemy's explanation
On October
stunned
7th,
everyone when James suddenly went missing. A blue and white car of his appeared on a quiet street. The Jackson Milk Center. At first no one noticed. But when the car lies dormant
Without
for days,
moving
at all, suspicion began to fester in the police. They're wondering if this is a mysterious
He'll
car
be held
accident.
in juvenile detention.
After looking up,
The
the
owner
owner was
was plate.
identified as James. The car is registered at. Doubt quickly turns to worry. Titusfield police immediately
car
asked
door
colleagues
opener
in
inspection.
Jackson what they found inside. It makes people more stressed than ever, even though no
But
bodies
on the
were
seats
found. There's blood all over the place. Until they're 21 years old. With their wide land area and extent, the police speculated maybe that hour was murdered inside this car. Jenny was horrified when she got the information. I hope the victim is not my husband. But the forensics showed that the blood in the
Same
car
with
was
James.
typo. All your hopes seem to be broken. A witness confirmed. I saw a man driving down the street. It means that in just 7 years the DNA
And the
can be
description
released.
fits
Perfectly
a
with
white
James,
male,
about 40 years old, 6 or 8 meters tall, slim figure, dark brown, wearing
This
red
led the
shirt. Police to believe that James was in trouble. There are no specific suspects. The police suspect James may have driven the wrong guy. They were attacked to steal property. The $500
But it's
in
all
the storage
speculation.
is also missing, but for first-degree murder. But with random cases like that, it seems very difficult for the police to investigate. So even though James from the 15th of the 9th year 8 to the beginning of the 9th and year, still don't have any dad, it seems like everyone has gone to a dead end. But there's an important detail that
Just
they
a
don't
week
know.
before
James disappeared on 39th A right 50, thousands of miles away in Sacramento. Everything
California
is completely
also
different. Has a strange disappearance. The victim is Mike, 36 years old, a local TV broadcaster. I ordered Mike that night. Tell your wife that I'm going to a nearby health
But as he
center
drove
to
out of
relax.
the
house in his red convertible. That was also the last time I saw you. The local police quickly stepped in. First City Police. Even though he's only 14 years old. Quickly find Mice's red convertible on a street in Sacramento. In the car seat, they found large blood stains. Next to it, not far from
Where
the
the
car,
police
is a
found
dense
a
bush.
uniform.
Chef dyed red blood, along with an 8-inch kitchen knife that's
After
also
inspection.
full of blood. It's been determined that the blood on the knife and
Your
the
blood
car
type
seat
matches
matches your blood type. 2 days after Mike disappeared,
19 years 8.
Arthur Palondo
South
in
of
the town of
Sacramento
Antelope
found
Mike's body in the barley fields. His body was stabbed a total of 8 times. The watch and the cash he was carrying were gone. Based on these details, the police quickly turned to a single suspect, their king Victor Ocean. Black got tried as an adult in court, a 7-career chef. If you think that to suspect a chef just because the murder weapon was a kitchen knife, so think again. The kitchen knife is just the tip. Victor Ocean is no ordinary criminal. From a young age, he showed his bad
Truant
nature.
fighting,
Leave the house dust. Normally. And culminated in his arrest for arson. At the age of 9. After realizing he couldn't control Victor, his parents decided to send him to a training school specialized for teens with problems. Just a few days after school, Victor brazenly set the dorm on fire. Finally, his parents threw him out of the house. Victor officially stepped in criminal road. If convicted, repeatedly in prison, convicted of a series of crimes, theft, such as robbery. At the time of Mike's murder, Victor has been indicted for 7 robberies. It's understandable that the police might suspect him. As soon as the police were ready to arrest him, Victor disappeared without a trace. Forced the police to issue an emergency warrant. Less than a month later, Victor was arrested. He received a life sentence. But the strange thing, the reason he was arrested had nothing to do with the reckless act that he did. Victor goes to a bar in Milwaukee one fateful evening when he was drinking. I overheard a man at the next table. I am proud to talk about my military exploits. This story may just be a harmless boast and have to wait for 15 to have a chance to forgive. Jealousy rises. He coldly pulled a gun from his pocket, threatened the man to remove the gun to prove military talent. But then, bar owners are immediately reported to the police with guns. When the police checked Victor's identity, they realized they'd just caught a wanted criminal. That's why the prosecution decided to upgrade our IS Victor crimes. Didn't just confess to killing Mike to another murder in Cedar. The police did what he said, and that's it. John Winner was found dead in his apartment, with many fatal knife wounds. With Mike's case, the story told by Victor to has many dubious on the night of the crime. He's wandering down the dark road. Then, Black is thanks to suddenly a bright red convertible stopped the owner of the car politely invited him to a bar not far away. After a night of drinking, Mice continues to lead Victory to a barley field where Mice's body was later found. The circumstances of his encounter with the victim in Sado. Winner meets Victor at church. We both went to the bar for drinks. In collecting 10 physical evidence and witnesses, Winner invited Victor home and the two lived together for 3 days. A brutal end has occurred when Victor killed Winner. This can make you feel confused, but if you simplify both, the victim had sex with Victor, and they all took their lives. His motive is not to steal. You may be wondering. First, in a bush more than 100 meters from where Justin is located. Why did he have to kill someone just for stealing? Victor confessed to investigators. I've never felt remorse for my crimes, cause they've never been an obsession for me. Now when I get arrested, society will use the law to punish me. It could be a death sentence. I think that's reasonable. I won't ask for clemency because I'm not afraid of death. And finally, in the case, he was sentenced to life in prison on 2 counts. Murder in January. Year 1, 9 years 9. Some of you may be wondering about the story here. What does Peter have to do with James' disappearance? That we mentioned at the beginning of the video. After the trial is over, the reporters surrounded Victor. A folding knife with the missing tip. Ask about the number of his victims. A suspicious reporter asked that. Did he just kill 2 people? And Victor's answer startled everyone. I'm not sure how many people killing I killed. I killed another guy
These
named
words
James
immediately
or something.
attracted the
For a
attention of the
criminal like
police.
he doesn't seem to care about his actions. The tip of this knife. The police couldn't
Or
determine
is there
if he
really
was just
something
bragging.
serious?
So, they asked Victor to provide more details about the murder. It's about a victim named James. Victor began to tell the story proudly. After finishing off Mike at Sacramento, to avoid Gao's violent pursuit by the police. On that journey, was later found embedded in Justin's head. He met a 21-year-old named Albert Rich on 7/10 and 9/8 on Highway 90 between Lux City and Jackson Milk. Victor and Rich are waiting for a ride. After a long wait, I finally saw blue-white stop. The driver, who seemed rich, agreed to give them a ride. Not long after getting in the new car,
expert concluded,
I felt the opportunity. You can't miss seeing the driver dressed so chic. When the car stops on the side of the road, it's 18 miles south of the traction. The driver stopped to relax. Victor and Rich did not miss the opportunity. As soon as the driver gets back in the car, they attack and kill you. Victor said that immediately after the crime. They started 6 cars. They found a shovel. Christian stabbed 114 times. To look like line. They found $500 in the junk drawer. Without hesitation, they're digging a hole in the spot with a shovel, buried the driver with some business cards found on the car, and spread 2 bags of lime-like stuff after the whole layer. They left the car and went back to the Jackson build. The police seem to believe this story because of all the details that Victor described. If it wasn't for the force of the stab, what the police would have includes $500, 2 bags of shovel like lime, James actually fertilizer. Before he disappeared. After verifying the evidence, the police immediately launched search for James' body, arresting partner Rich. Even if the 2 tasks are carried out at the same time, the results are not the same. The investigator believes that. First, the search for the area south. A check review has been launched, based on Victor's testimony. In addition to discovering 2 bags of body fertilizer, Albert's arrest went pretty well, thanks to Victor's testimony that Rick has striking features with a body full of tattoos. Thanks to this information, the FBI quickly rounded up Rich. The number of wounds on Christian's body may be more than 100. Despite his arrest, Rick Angelico denies the allegation. He was not involved in any robbery. To kill someone? And I don't understand why Victor dragged him into this. Even though the police didn't believe Rick's excuse. They haven't found a way to charge him yet. Then a strange event happened. Just hours after Rick was arrested, the victim's body had 49 wounds. At 11 p.m. to be a January 19 The Phillip Police. Arizona gets unbelievable news. A man calling himself James. He claims to be James Harris, the man Victor and Rich supposedly on the killed. Night of to be a January, when a couple is parked on the side of the road, came out of an alley. He knocked on the Bridges door and asked them to take him to the police station. Couple, they didn't feel safe, so they refused to let him in, but agreed to call the police for help. Taken to the station, the man began to tell a story that people can't help but be surprised. The unexpected return. He called himself James Harris. In his words on 7/10, he drove to Coquotas to meet clients. She fought hard. The appointment was successful, and he quickly left for home. However, while stopping at an intersection, waiting for a red light, suddenly a strange man jumped into the chair. I asked him to drive to Jackson. He threatened to kill you with a gun if you do not obey orders. James had only one way to listen. When James drove him to a parking lot in Jackson, before the brutality of the black James suddenly fainted. When he woke up, he was in Phillip. It's over 2,000 miles from Jackson View, from 7 and it's been over 100 days, and more than that. The clothes on you are not yours, and the $500 that he brought with him. There's only 67 cents left. James' story confuses the Phillip police. Your efforts can't save you. When they checked their identities, they found some shocking news. Phillips police began to suspect
but their
him.
suspicions are growing.
James has been missing for more than 100 days,
But his beard was shaved clean.
the clothes are also very cute. Though, police finished contacting James'
To
wife,
verify that
Jenny,
the results surprised
when
them.
searching the black AIS
After
room.
taking the phone,
Jenny is delighted to confirm that man was her husband, James Harris. She immediately sent money so that James could return to Florida.
James' unexpected
I
return
can't believe
makes
what's
the
going
Florida
on.
police.
The bigger problem is that Victor had previously
But now
pleaded
he's suddenly
guilty, claiming that it
denying
was
all
all
of
of his
joke.
testimony. This gives the police a headache. The police found blood-stained clothes, but even more disturbing are the red streaks in
It's
James's
an almost
car.
certain
The injury
sign
must be
that the
serious.
eye has been hacked.
James returned intact. Any trace of trauma that confuses
Did James
the police
really get away with
The
it?
police decided to examine
But
James'
the results
body.
show
His body was completely uninjured. Let's not say a fatal wound. A pair of bloody sneakers. James returned to Rick, Victor's accomplice,
but a year
was
later
also
and a
released
year
for lack of
961.
evidence. A group of children accidentally discover
as they
a new
play
mystery.
near Jackson View. It's the remains of a man.
He was buried where Victor was. He claimed to have buried the body, even though the police quickly showed up and started digging. The body was left with only
8
a
folding
skeleton,
knives.
a knife, and
They
leather
can't
shoes.
identify
the victim or link this to James. The case seemed closed, but in fact, it opens up a series of difficult questions. What's really going on? Is Victor really involved in James' disappearance? And who's really hurt? Or was hurt in James' case or not? And finally, over 100 days, and a
did
lot
James
of
go
drawings. The
through to
first
depict
question
violence
is
against
definitely
women?
yes. By the details that Victor described about the items
too
in
accurate.
the car. That's why the police believe it. The killer from the beginning. When we've confirmed this in conjunction with the traces in the second question also has an answer. It's clear that
Most
someone was
people would
harmed
probably
in this
agree
case.
with the 2 points
But the
above.
thing is, James wasn't harmed. He painted it himself. He didn't even have a wound on him. So what does this mean? The real victim is not James. On the internet, there's a theory that the victim was James' kidnapper. The story he told wasn't
Not
very
even
clever.
in the
movies can you make that up. But if you put him as a suspect, if anyone believes
Add
that
to that
story,
no
no
matter
matter what happens, by interviewing Black AI classmates and girlfriends. In fact, James wasn't hurt. If so,
Why
he was
didn't
in
he
the
go
car
home
with
right
James
away?
He also confirmed that he was free. So what's got him worried? To the point
You
of
pay
not
attention.
daring to go home. Richie was arrested just 2 days after Joe pleaded
on
guilty.
January 2nd.
And James showed up sooner or later, and it happened. All told before the case happened. Just in time for the killer to be arrested. This way, things become clearer. Because someone died in the car. James was afraid he couldn't explain. So he chose to hide first. Wait until the police catch the killer. Make up a story to come home. And the victim and James may have known each other. Their meeting was not public. James was driving to Kokobas to meet the
Black
guests.
AI
has talked many times about the creepy plan. This could be the truth. But at the same time, he has another mission. To meet a secret person. On the way to Kokobas, James
The
picked
original
this
plan
guy. was James meets the customer and the mystery person to drive to Jackson View
When
to
they
do
finished,
something else.
they
But
met
James
again.
waited forever and the mystery man didn't
There
come
is a
back.
secret
between them. Your girlfriend said a month before the incident. And when both people and cars are missing, James wouldn't know how to explain it to his family. So he chose to wait. James did not expect it. My wife called the police at night. Maybe just wait a day or two. If the mystery doesn't come back, could make up a reason to cheat on his wife. But now the police have. Intervention makes it no longer easy to hide. In a conversation, over time, James received news that the car was
Even
found
related
on
to the
Jackson
murder.
View. This made him even more afraid, without daring to appear. To avoid detection, James fled to Los Angeles,
A few months
where no one
after
knew
learning
about
that
him. Victor had pleaded
guilty.
James himself confirmed that. DNA has expressed the mysterious man may have been killed and decided to
with the
appear
story
that I just made up. Because there's no one to testify so his
right
words
now.
are almost unquestionable. And what's more important is that the original victim in the case, that's James. Now when he shows up, if we don't find a new victim,
the story
I
of
want
case
to
is
drag
closed.
someone into the forest at night. Are you surprised by the ending? What do you think? Comment below. The sparkling diamonds. It is known as the symbol of eternal love. Love lasts forever. But in today's case, the diamonds became an important clue, exposing a string of horrific crimes. The story began in 2016 when Mrs. Mary Patel, the 9-year-old, is enjoying her husband Don live in Peston Black, a luxury resort. After 67 years together, Don died leaving Mary a lasting memory. Even so, she maintained an active lifestyle, regularly attend the mass, join a daily fitness class, and share the joy with close friends. But everything changed in the 19th of March 2018. DNA also shares when he's angry. At 9:26 a.m., 911 switchboard an emergency Kia Sidewire end. It's the panicked voice of an elderly woman from the nursing home. Peston Black. It should have been just a normal day. Jackie is Mary's best friend. I'm on my way to pick her up for a fitness class. He often heard voices in his head. However, when Jackie arrived, Mary is not standing outside as always. I noticed that the door was slightly open, and then Jackie pushed the door in. Jackie was shocked to see Mary lying motionless in bed. She tried to call in despair, but Mary didn't respond. Jackie immediately called 911. In the hope of saving my friend's life. They lead me to do terrible things. As soon as the emergency team arrived, the apartment. Meanwhile, they quickly checked Mary's condition. Announced the news to your son, Mr. John Pather. John and his family were in a state of shock. They're not just worried about Mary making it, but I'm confused about the reason behind it. In her 90s, Mary still maintains an active lifestyle. He always wanted to carry out a cruel plan, regular exercise, socialize widely, and live completely independently. She also had no history of medical concern. Suddenly, Mary woke to the astonishment of the emergency team. She slowly raised her hand to the police officer standing nearby. I point my finger as if to say something important. That her wedding ring was gone. John shared that my mother always wore that ring. We just haven't found a victim yet. It never left her hands either. The wedding ring went to sleep. There's definitely something unusual going on. The whole family immediately searched the entire apartment to find the ring. But what's more shocking is that it's not just the ring that's gone. That all of Mary's precious jewels also evaporates without trace. Sergeant Brian Frank. I was reminded of a previous announcement from the police chairman. The prosecution obtained a total of 250 series of deaths involving the elderly. Hundreds of older women have died over the years. The victims died and their property disappeared. These deaths have never been thoroughly investigated. Now they realize the seriousness of the situation. Mary Patel was taken to hospital in critical condition. As long as you wake up and tell the police what happened and gather all the evidence, they have a chance to solve this case. Waiting for Mary to recover, the police decided to review similar cases. And they discovered most of the attacks on older women, theft of property in the past year. They all have amazing similarities. It was about 6 months ago that Helen Lee's case happened. Lives about 9 miles from Mary. Transferring Plaza prosecutors hold a press conference at the prestigious Parkville Frisco nursing home in Texas. She was a seamstress for over 45 years. In retirement, here she befriended someone who lived in the same nursing home. Helen lived on the 3rd floor of the nursing home. Enjoy a peaceful life with friends. Sometimes my niece will visit me. Marilyn lives on the 1st floor. However, the stairs in the building decided to raise the charge of black AI to 1st-degree murder. It's always unlocked. No cameras are installed. According to a report from the nursing home, on September 1st, Helen and Marilyn went
But
about
on
their
Sunday,
business as
September
usual.
3rd,
Helen didn't go to church as usual. It made her niece feel insecure and decided to take the place. Check. My niece told me, COVID-19 DNA forced to talk to lawyers and judges. I saw her in the bedroom with the stick right next to it. Just a few weeks later, Highland and Marilyn. He was found dead in his apartment. The death of these two older women doesn't make AI suspicious. They're all over 80. So dying in a nursing home, it seems like a normal thing. By video in prison, the authorities quickly concluded the cause of death was a natural disease and didn't do an autopsy. But neither of the two families felt that way. Both Helen and Marilyn with a carefully arranged plaster, the bruises on their arms, and the glasses are completely twisted upside down. Make family. They suspect to prepare for the preliminary hearing. When asked about these things, the police insisted Helen and Marilyn died of natural causes, and that AI just accidentally hit. They stole their jewelry the night they died. However, as thefts continued, the local police were forced to investigate further and detect a suspicious sequence of events. Series of older women. But when the conversation is going on, they were all found dead under similar circumstances, and they all lost their precious jewels, wedding ring, gold chain, Rolex watch. The total value of stolen items, it's over $500,000. The time of loss coincides with the time of death, prove that the victims didn't just die of natural causes. A police officer said, normally. And everyone was surprised to find that DNA has a signature per year in Prestonwood, but only for 3.5 months. There's been a series of CA deaths in a row. Instead of issuing an alarm to investigate, the police did not act. From 2016 to 2018, hundreds of CA deaths of the elderly for hospitals. Senior care is under investigation. The number of unattended CA deaths can be up to 700. He's talking shit. Or even more. Throughout the Nursing Home Management Board, there's still no clear move. Wow. The victim's family is still searching for answers. They contact Manda Sonch, Director of Community Relations, to ask about the lost jewels. However, in the face of overwhelming questions of his attitude is rapidly changing short and poetic. I can't accept that coldness. The old people who live in nursing homes put up warning posters on their own, notification of thefts, and encourage people to lock their doors in self-defense. These posters were quickly taken down by management because they haven't been approved, muttering strange words. And it can be confusing to others' indifference and their avoidance of the problem. This makes the victim's family more suspicious. Sanchez once claimed Kaz died simply from a sudden heart attack. He said they just fell and died. Last after the detective decided to investigate and summon Manda Sanchez to the police station. Alan I will not let you demons the Manda's behavior during the interrogation was unusual. He just blamed the paramedics. 7 jewelry lost during the cleaning of the room. The sergeants were immediately called in to check. Surveillance camera system in all nursing homes. It's amazing. The number of cameras is very small. I don't know who you are, especially at Preston Black. On the 3rd and 4th floors, the nursing home has no surveillance system at all. Most of the entrances and exits are not tracked. This makes it possible to sneak in and out undetected. The police tried everything they could to find a clue. They even conducted interviews. Medical personnel are at the scene. You will not get my soul. But in addition to the lost jewels, they don't have any artifacts. They don't have any specific. The investigation quickly came to a standstill. Medical staff were also removed from the suspect list. The case was closed and eventually without any results at all. But everything changed in the 19th of March 2018 when the grandmother was 9 years old. Mary Patel, what's going on? Why am I here? He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Your case, it's identical to other incidents in the last 2 years, but this time, Mary survived. It could give the police a lot of important clues to judge. On the morning of March 29, 2018, everything seems to be going normally. Black nursing home. Mary sits in the apartment in front of the computer screen like that with a confused expression on her face. To the kids. About 8:30, a sudden knock on the door. Mary thought it was Jackie. To go to gym class but as soon as the lock is open, a tall man threw a flag in. In a panic, Mary tried with all her might to hold the door. How can I compete with a tall man? The lawyer and judge at the scene were silent. He quickly overwhelmed Mary her immediately and noticed something unusual. This person is wearing green rubber gloves. In danger. He asked Mary to lie down on the bed quickly, a pillow and pressed against Mary's face. She tried to fight back. But your strength is nothing compared to him. In the midst of despair, she reached out and touched the alarm button on her neck. It's clear that they're overwhelmed by the odd behavior. Her arms were clenched. Mary lost consciousness. At that moment, the door opened again. This time, the one who actually walked in was her to exercise. Horrible scenes appear before our eyes. Mary lies motionless, not reacting, in a strange position. Mary's friend immediately called 9 for a timely rescue. Over the ambulance. However, the judge kept his decision with a little strength left. Mary tried to give the police details about her attacker. Thanks to these precise descriptions, the detective quickly began to investigate, review the witness, including the staff in the nursing home. They found they frequently appear around the area. Man has characteristics that match Mary's description. He went to the 4th floor several times. DNA is completely normal. I was there to check for a water leak. He's 7 or 8 meters tall, weighs about 8.5 pounds, carrying a handbag. It's the same time Murray was attacked. The police received a report about a stranger loitering around the car in the nursing home parking lot. The caller recorded the license plate, and when the police checked, it doesn't require a psychological evaluation. They discovered the car belonged to a man named Puli Chebib. 46-year-old Billy perfectly matches Mary's description. Through camera check, he often shows up as a maintenance worker and many other roles. Now, detectives are starting to recognize the strategy. Billy take advantage of old uniforms from previous jobs to infiltrate the nursing home. As soon as DNA finished the show, his mother taking advantage of an unattended door when digging deeper. The police found that he had a history of suspicious behavior, drunk driving, especially in 2016. Belly was arrested for pretending to break into the nursing home. March 2018, just 1 day after the police found a suspicious car at supermarket. Chris was also arrested 9 kilometers from Mary's apartment on the day of the incident. At 2:30 p.m., security camera records Belli walking around in the supermarket. You can see he's following a woman, an older woman in a red dress, imitates through the lines for over 20 minutes. When the woman leaves the supermarket and goes back to her car, Belli also left soon after. During a DNA home test, she didn't know the suspicious car, and the man from Walmart gets out of the parking lot. It's scary. When you think about just 1 day of shopping, you can be monitored at 5:50 p.m. the same day. The police finally found Belli's car. The driver perfectly matched the description of the suspect. They quietly followed the car. The investigator discovered, as it enters an apartment Belli stops in front of a trash can, step down and throw something in, while a group of officers continue to chase the suspect. The other group checks the trash. Here, they found a bright red jewelry box. There are some precious items left inside. The same card with Harris' name on it. The police quickly looked up his identity and discovered it's a Vietnamese woman. The 81-year-old lives less
Now
than
the
2
race
miles
against
away.
time officially begins.
They decided to go to her place
Upon
to
arrival,
check. A neighbor said he saw her at 4:30. Not long before the police
Notice
arrived.
the situation is not right.
The police immediately broke through the door and rushed in. They're late. When reviewing the surveillance, the woman identified as Harris has
Ms.
just
Harris'
been murdered
apartment
and
initially
nothing
showed no
unusual.
signs of being broken
However,
into.
the police officer found her jewelry box in the trash. All the evidence shows Billy is the mastermind of a string of murder cases. Serial killer. It's even more violent now. In the meantime, they've discovered a very suspicious situation. The police are still on Billy's
Decided
trail.
not to forgive.
And finally,
An hour
police
later,
successfully arrest Pelly on post at his apartment in Dallas. According to sources, suspect Billsley, after arrest, was detained at Dollar's Coyote prison with the forced first-degree murder.
In the process of verification,
This video was recorded around 12:55 noon on May 9th.
He kept telling
the police he was innocent and completely unaware of what's being said. However, when the detective presents the evidence is irrefutable, his attitude quickly changed. In the apartment of Bildy in Dallas, the police found many cell phones, fake passport gloves, and many of the jewelry belonged to the previous victim. Out. The day of the case, when the police carry pictures of Belly in to the local pawn shops and jewelry stores, a shopkeeper of Diamond Angon Extran immediately recognized Potroff through security tapes. Billy appeared in the store with every time he catch hand. He laughed. Describe yourself as a legal beer and seller of jewelry by visiting many pawn shops. That night, Kristen's family, diamond shop, and even various online platforms like eBay. Belay is said to have made more than $100,000 from selling jewelry. However, the actual numbers may be far beyond
April
what the police
2020
imagine.
after
After
the
the trial
first
of Belly
trial
officially
for Ms.
takes
Harris'
place,
murder
was over. Without reaching a verdict, this time the court focused entirely on Harris' death. I just reported the police to the police about her disappearance. Although Belly is suspected of at least 18 murders, the prosecutor claims this is a case. The most compelling evidence. Harris was the last victim. He was killed just an hour before his arrest, even on the first day. Testimony of Mary Battle, the only one to survive Bella's attack, replayed in court. And Christian's body hasn't been found yet. With the description, the gruesome details and images she recounted, the horror she faced, is vividly portrayed. It shocked everyone present who was there. After 45 minutes, Parliament. Smeared jury finds with a life sentence. Mrs. Harris' family was finally relieved. In Christie video, even though she was gone, justice was finally served. The families of 22 other victims were invited to face Belay directly. The 10th of July 2020, Belay was convicted of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison for the second time. Make sure that he'll never have a chance to harm anyone. In this case, you can see the level of police in the area. They're really irresponsible and subjective. Before the death of that one, fortunately, Mary tried to describe that he doesn't hurt anyone else. There is no Mary. What terrible thing could happen next? This no one knows. What do you think? Have you ever been in a desperate situation to find the gods in the bathroom? To find solace in difficult solutions times. Yet, to pray or to seek spiritual guidance. But if you let that belief rule your whole life, he opened the door to danger. Cannot be foreseen. And today we're going to uncover a horrific where the shamans are the ones who lead to tragedy. Standing next to you is not a mysterious disappearance, but his brother. The 19th of May 2013 at the teachers and classmates discovered the girl April 2nd seems to have completely disappeared. You don't come to class, not replying to the message. And they don't appear on social media. It's remarkable that before he disappeared, she posted a cryptic post on Facebook. If you are not stubborn, maybe everything will be better right now. This article quickly worried friends and teachers, especially when they know you've had a big shock. She broke up with her boyfriend 3 years ago. People immediately contacted her family to find out. The picture of my life is starting to show up. Is an introvert girl. Little communication and with no friends. One really knew much about her situation. My parents died early. Eden is in a police car heading to the interrogation facility. Your brother became a wanted criminal. So her only other relative was her frail old grandmother. But she doesn't know where she is now. After being notified, my grandmother reported the disappearance to launch to the police search and investigation. The first clues. When the police came to inspect the school apartment, no sign of moving. After the laundry, Christy took her jeans down to the garage. This suggests that you may have left. In a state of surprise, they track bank transactions, departure and medical records, but there's no significant results. Ultimate security camera provided an important clue. April 2nd, 6 at a convenience store to pick up parcels. It looks completely normal. Shortly after, another family member showed up. 7. Your phone signal appears. In Chiayi City, 200 kilometers this raises from Taipei before disappearing completely. If you wanted to kill yourself at Sao and she met her at home, the police decided to find out more about the relationship, starting with my ex-boyfriend. Christy is wearing jeans. Mysterious ex-boyfriend. From Tran Ngok's personal diary. As the police discovered, the complicated emotional relationship between her and her ex-boyfriend. We loved each other deeply. They broke up after difficult conflict. Your boyfriend admitted to causing you pain. But he insisted that he had nothing to do with the disappearance. I have no doubt about my ex-boyfriend, and the two seemed to be discussing how to handle these pants. The police turned to another suspicious finding. A large money transfer receipts totaling more than 3 million yuan to a stranger named Huang Van Tin. Huang Van Static. The 39-year-old is a man, had a family, and runs a credit investigation firm in Taikang. He admitted, I used to know Tran Ngok through an online game. Then the care member suddenly pointed to the camera and confirmed the large amount of money she transferred to him doesn't match the evidence the police have. When asked about the money transferred to the girl, Huang then calmly explained, I sometimes send you some money. However, the girl later returned about 300,000 RMB. The 3 million you transferred back to invest in your company. It makes you stand up immediately. Huang Van calmly confirmed. He returned the money to the girl, and the bill was worth 5 million yuan. The girl gave it to him voluntarily, as a guarantee of love. But there's a question that no AI can answer. What a normal student is. It's possible to accumulate such a large amount of money just from extra work. The police couldn't find any transactions in the garage to prove. The bank has returned the money, as at the same time, a bill of 5 million yuan. That the Static Emperor Cho is the guarantee of love. It makes the case even more vague. Before these illogical explanations, the police couldn't help but feel suspicious. However, there's no direct evidence. When you look at this video, relate calmly to the case. And according to the investigation, on April 2nd, 7th, he's still in Taikang. There was no contact with such, so the police had to leave him alone for now. But the police officer's intuition tells them that is definitely related to this. He's a very experienced person. He's resistant to the investigation. Not long after, and use subtle tricks, so the police understand that they have to be patient. We need a decisive piece of evidence to be able to unravel our culture. After this meeting, the police all realized It's going to be a long, tough fight. Requires patience as well as step-by-step calculation. Chris and Jason go to the police station. The police decided to continue digging into BA. Important clues. Source of money. Email content and contact list in the phone. Up to this point, the police have not been able to clarify. Why do you have so much money? It's even more vague. The reason the girl transferred money to the static. As we continue to investigate the origin of the digital money, police detect a series of strange actions of As. In June 2012, she used the apartment that her parents left behind, borrowing in that loan amount $1 million from the public bank. You paid a man named Che $206,000 less than half a year later. The same year. She sold this apartment for $3 million according to the market value at the time. While waiting, this apartment is worth about 75 million yuan. The police suspect this whole series of cheap borrowing and selling. It is related to static. To clarify this, the police continue to investigate the contact email and discovered an important piece of information. They confirmed that they had purchased a train ticket to Italy on April 2nd, 7th, 2013. She contacted a magician named Li Jiangshen by email. Christie deliberately alluded to the pants that the black AI wore his divine power. Help you catch your ex. When the police met the legal wizard, he admitted, I took money from him to solve emotional problems. However, although when you cast a spell, your ex-lover is the same. Don't give up, like constantly urging the shaman to try something else. Ready to try any magic. It's not genes. I see the girl so determined. The lawyer just wants to push you away. And then he remembered. A believer. So I introduced him to a credit rating agency. And pretend to say that if you get the correct address of your magic more accurately, to resolve the situation. He provided the contact information of the company owner himself. As if found this company owner, no other AI is quiet. But these details are just small clues. And it's not enough to break the silence. The mysterious calls. Police began investigating the phone records of such. In the 26th of April 2013, there's a strange phone number. I have been in constant contact with you. After inspection, the police found out that this is a prepaid phone number. By this act, and not registering the owner, that they can't identify the owner of this phone number. Then, on April 2nd to 7th, a strange number be contacted. This number again is also a prepaid number. The police started. I suspect they have a relationship and there's a purpose behind the calls. On April 26th, he used his own crypto accused of intentionally destroying evidence to call the number B. And on April 2nd and 7th, in addition to contacting as a prepaid phone number, it's also a prepaid number. Especially the signal of C number and the signal of static. They all come from the same station. However, from the point of view of the chain of evidence, to phone numbers coming from the same station to confirm anything. Despite being accused, Christie is determined not to plead guilty. His phone signal is still in Taikang. On April 2nd, 7th. And his car is always in Taikang. That he didn't come to Roi. But phone signal of jade substance. Suddenly lost the signal at home, Italy. Are you going to Taikang? And after paying the $25,000 bail, the contact card and the radio station, we can't quite connect the dots. But being careful, I decided not to give up. They keep looking for clues from the phone signal and detect the speed of the phone signal before losing the signal. It's not the same as walking speed. It's like speed movement of the car. This makes them suspicious. She's on bail. As if it could be driven to Taikang by that AI. This bold theory make the police decide many times to track phone calls. And finally, They've collected 10 bits of data
Italy and
about home
Taiken.
radio stations in the same day. Hundreds of thousands of data to analyze. It's a giant challenge. Christie's next trial is set for May 2022. They have to race against time to search for clues about the girl's disappearance. After a thorough review, they picked out two phone numbers. It has a speed that matches the distance
Think
from
about
Taiken. However, monitoring these phone numbers for a long
does
time
not bring clear results.
This time-consuming and labor-intensive approach. The 2nd of February 2020 to Eden's preliminary
I had
hearing
to stop
begins.
after half a year.
Since the victim's family
Now the
reported her
police
missing,
decide.
Direct contact with the people involved and eliminate the doubt leads to the first suspect. During the investigation, the police quickly identified a bus driver in Taiken is the main
This
suspect.
driver
Engaged in suspicious behavior on April
At the
2nd
Iden
to
court
7th.
proved very
The day
comfortable
is missing.
and
Confident. He quit his job for no apparent reason. This led the police to invite him for questioning. The 12th of April 2013,
Expression
police appeared
bewildered.
at the driver's door, as well as his anger in the face of the police. It increases the suspicion. The driver said he did nothing wrong, but when asked about the
He
action
was
on April
confused and
2nd
couldn't
to 7th,
keep his cool.
the judge decided
After a
to
while
fix the
of
driver
winding.
said that afternoon he took the task of driving to the Go train. Welcome to Traningog. As fake lam assistant shaman, he gave the girl a
It
bottle
is said
of
to
red
be
wine
purified
containing
water
a sedative
before
the ceremony. After drinking and falling asleep, the driver took her back to Taiken with this
and handed
testimony.
her over.
The date of his official trial, the police quickly obtained a search warrant. Home and company of Static. The 1st of June 2014 here, they discovered a lot of shocking
In the house of
details. Not only did he have his wife,
This shows
but
that
he
Tranning
also
God
had
took
another
his
girl
wife
in a
in a
complicated
complicated
relationship. Out. Police found sedatives on a
It
SIM
belonged
card to one of the phone numbers they investigated. Is November 2nd, especially a USB hard drive. The encryption was detected in
When
Van
asked about
Static's
the
pants
content,
pocket, he just said he picked it up on the
And
side
I don't
of the
know
road.
what's
inside. Shocking detection. The hard drive was sent to the police technology department for decryption. While the investigation team continues to search
Here
the
it
house. They found a gun and over 30 heroin pills. Because this case involves both Adon and Christie. Hidden on the ceiling. There was no trace of blood in the bathroom. This evidence. That's enough for the police to file
Possession
an
of
arrest
illegal
warrant. Weapons. And illegal drugs. Now the COM continues to deny. Related to the disappearance of, as confirmed after an argument. It's like leaving without knowing where you're going. A lawyer. Of course the police
whole
didn't
truth
believe
is
him.
revealed.
February 2nd, 2014 during the 11th
While smoking
interrogation
with the
investigators. Com suddenly trembling sighed and said, "I'll take you to her." This statement really shocked the investigator. The next day, they were led to a
Beneath the
remote
soil
forest
covered
in
in
wooden barrels. Because you can't afford
They
the
found a
huge
human
legal
skeleton.
costs. DNA results
With
confirmed
Van
that this is the
Ting's
tragic
Traningog's
story of
body
has
is.
gradually unraveled. Young girl born in a
But there's a
normal
lot to
family
lose
when parents die early. Through an unhappy childhood. To face the rigors of grandparents, it's like growing up with a lack of self-confidence as well as a strong desire for love. When hiring an outside private lawyer after high school graduation, it's like starting a job to support your family. However, since the age of 21, she decided to go back to school. Completion of high school and university programs. This determination shows a strong will. In this little girl, at the age of 26, she became an English student in the continuing education department of Women's University. Last on the 24th of March 2000 to BA. Here she met her ex-lover, a member of the basketball team. Cute couple. This girl is supposed to be the ideal couple. But the relationship quickly ended due to the unsafe nature of such. After breaking up, she fell into a state of depression and she turned to religion and rituals. I hope I can pull my ex back, and from here. Jordan was only 14 years
Your
old
life is
when he
slowly
committed the
slipping
crime.
in a dark spiral.
It's about finding spiritual comfort. As if he had met Lee Tianren, a shaman of disrepute.
Lee then introduced her to the
recognizes psychological weakness. He knows
He
as well as
decided to
owning a
use this
house
to his
left
advantage.
behind by his
From
parents.
there,
Conley begin to make subtle plans to deceive money and body, but because of its extreme gravity. As 2011 as officially caught up in his game of deception. Conley lying. He also knows magic. It can help you get your ex back. However, he asked you to use your body as the basis for the ritual. Easily manipulated, Tran Dai as trusted and was tried as an adult at a hotel in Ten Bac. She was asked to take off
Hair
her
and
clothes
pubic
and
hair
cut
for
raw
raw
materials for ritual. Conley performed the ritual with red ink painted on her back, recorded by video, and collected her 6,000 yuan in less than a week. Ex-lovers actively contacted again, even though they didn't get back together. But this change brings a ray of hope. Even though it's fragile, it makes you feel sentenced to life in prison. Everything can change for the better. The fateful meeting. In May 2012, Conley appointment as at a hotel in Taikang. You think it's just a normal date. We both sat down to eat in the hotel room to drink a glass of wine. It's a glass of by Huang Van. It's a powerful anesthetic. There's no possibility within a few minutes after 25
now calm
years,
down,
don't miss a chance. He took nude pictures of her in many positions. Continued the abuse. All these bad scenes. He recorded it all on video. When I wake up, Con seduces you. They said they had sex. This means that after 25 years, Aiden can force her to be his lover. After confirming the relationship with Such, Steady continued to implement the scam plan. In June of the same year, he mortgaged her house. In October, and transferred her to sell the house to his account. For investment reasons, these tricks don't stop. With unbridled greed, Conley make up a false story, request consideration to mitigate or uphold the sentence. Owe him 5 million. This is bad. He forged your signature to sign a loan receipt, then use it to get the court to execute. Even when you're still dead, expropriate the property. The horrible murder plan. In early 2013, I decided to end my relationship, but he didn't expect you to give up so easily. The judge called the case barbaric. As a threat, will reveal all about their financial relationships to his wife. In addition to carrying out a murder plan, quietly began to carry out plans to kill her, to be a magician, and lured her to a recital at home. Here he's taking strong sleeping pills when you're unconscious. He and his driver took her to an apartment he'd rented. Inhuman and calculating. In this apartment, he continues to commit atrocities. He sprayed goo gas into her mouth and nose for almost 10 minutes. It's like I can't breathe, and eventually die of hypoxia. He took her life in a cruel way, without even a hint of regret. After killing Tran Dai, as Van Tin did not stop. He was running around looking for a place to hide his body. Young. And he ended up burying her in a remote place. To cover his tracks, he used a wooden box to cover the body, and then he threw her clothes and bags into the scene. Action of the static function. To prove his brutality, he didn't just take the life of an innocent girl, but also deliberately concealing the level of brutality could not be ignored to avoid being discovered. When the case goes to court, Huang Van Tin argued that Tran Ngo's death was just an accident. However, with irrefutable evidence, his defense is completely unpersuasive. The police collected all the evidence to prove his wickedness. And finally the calm, sentenced to life in prison for several crimes. When Aiden stabbed Christie 114 times, it's guilty of murder. Tran Ngo's death, as it caused many people to suffer, love and desire but for become attention, the victim of a cunning scammer. After many years, investigators who have still been involved in the case, they identified her body, received the body of my nephew, an act that's completely beyond impulsivity. They still can't hold February 2nd, 6, 2014. Teachers and friends at Memorial College show Tran Ngo as they pray for you. I can find peace and love in the world over there. The ceremony is an opportunity for people to remember a young girl and evil. Look at Aiden's case. We can easily recognize the signs of the disorder. Antisocial personality. In the time before the crime, he's constantly talking about his criminal fantasies and cruelty. It could have come from his family. Aiden Jackson's father has a criminal record. 58-year-old Jackson was arrested for having sex and for driving without a license. 2003, Jackson was sentenced to 14 months in prison for the child criminal record and actively destroy evidence. She's an accomplice, even though living in a high-end residential area. Let me go to expensive school, but obviously, these things can't help Aiden grow properly. Instead of just being interested in material life, maybe Crystal, you should spend more time sitting down, listen to your son's psychological problems. Then surely neither will not essay into the criminal path. Parents can forget to care about their children's lives, to get to know the kids and raise them. So people, teenagers today, they are very capable of doing stupid things that we never thought about. This case is a proof. Today we're going to have a very nasty case. Series of cold blood. He's known as the killer, Shane Iceland, because the cases mostly happened the 13th of September 2016 at 6 a.m. with a whispered voice. Call the police for help, because you were kidnapped. When you're on the phone, the kidnapper is still in the room, so she had to force herself to speak in a low voice. Constantly paying attention when the very unfortunate thing happened. The search for the location continues while the girl panicked because you accidentally told her not to talk. If you're feeling dangerous, just leave the phone. Police quickly arrived in the area, but there are two identical houses, so they're not sure which house is the scene. The girl said, "You're in the bedroom with the door. There is no handle, so you can see them if they're standing at the door." After a while, the police finally broke down the door and rescued the girl. When they arrived at the scene, police found a woman about 30 years old. They are completely naked, body trembling. She pointed to the house and told the police. The kidnapper is still sleeping. Inside the house, it's a horrifying, chaotic scene. There's trash everywhere. Flies flying through the thick air. It smells when the police bad and disgusting. They saw the kidnapper sleeping in his bed, also in the nude. He was seen crate shortly after rescuing the kidnapped woman. The police immediately took Shin to the police station in Iceland State for interrogation. From there they know this seemingly calm man, it's not just a regular kidnapper. Slug Crush, born 8/8 years old, is a playgirl, married at just 14 years old and she regularly abuses slugs when she's drunk. To Shin, his mother never cared about his children. It's all about the environment and finding men. This issue was accidental. It creates serious defects in Shin's personality. He's mentally disabled. The ability to read and write and has an IQ of their peers. BA is lower than normal people, even if you don't excel has a sporting ability, especially badminton and baseball. However, this luck didn't last long because when I was only 14 years old, Shin was diagnosed with a tumor on his arm. He had to give up his passion for baseball. In the eyes of my classmates, Shin is a polite boy with handsome tall appearance and sunny smile. He's always liked by girls. Shin was used to a lot. Girlfriend every time we date. Then the girls are all revealing behind the looks. He's a very violent person. At the age of 18, Shin arrested for assaulting girlfriend. 2 years later, injuries. He broke into another girl's house and tried to choke her to death. 2011, Shin's other girlfriend reported because to the police. When the police arrived under the sofa in the house, Shin hiding under his chair. It makes them feel horrible. Before being arrested, Shin had 3 children with 3 different girlfriends, but he's not capable of providing for them. Decided to run away. live slugs roaming in relief camps. You've got cars and abandoned houses. Stealing has become his main occupation. Shin often goes to prison. Back to the kidnapping. After taking Shin into the interrogation room, the veteran investigator is David Lee started the interrogation. His name is over 38 years old confessed and that he's a devout Christian. Met at a social support center, the San Vision Army. That is, they knew each other about 6 weeks before the incident. Live and have a good time. Shin also admitted he stole the day of the case to tents in a campsite, and then went to the flea market and stole a taser in the house of Jin's apartment to invite her to his house to play. Not long after coming home, Shin begins to commit violent acts against the process. Jin. He's got a phone and a camera. Record the whole scene. For more than a day by Shin. They are not allowed to eat, but their hands are tied. Even when going to the bathroom, Shin followed her closely, and the investigators knew quite well information about Jin's kidnapping. They decided to move on to another case. Elizabeth is a woman with living on government subsidies and suffers from a severe mental disorder. She's in constant contact with community workers and mental counselors. Every 2 days. The reason the investigators mentioned Elizabeth, because she used to be friends with both the expert and Shin. All 3 people regularly participate in activities at the community centre. Happened in the 17th of August and consultants. I can't contact Elizabeth. They immediately reported her missing. Interrogation of Elizabeth, Shin always deliberately dodged or drifted to other topics. This increased the investigators' suspicion. The interrogation lasted from morning to evening until about 1 p.m. Police changed tactics and during the interrogation, the investigators used emotional to show cards. Empathy and deep understanding for a soft approach. It will help us find more information about the process of using emotional hypnosis. Shin did not reveal any information about another victim, Kent. Kent is a girl with a lot of problems. She has no stable residence and regularly uses banned substances, so your child's custody has been taken away. Scorpion Shin in 2015. They started living together later that year. 7 months Shin, later in June year to number 16, was so angry at Kenneth's repeated so he lies. Killed her and dumped her in the woods. This time the investigator Mature has formed a certain trust after the interrogation. He was seen leading investigators to find Kane's finally, body. They found Kane's body in the forest, where he's missing more than 3 months. Shin confessed to his crime in the detective case, kept asking about other secrets. Shin has revealed another horrifying truth. He said, "There's another one in the closet of the house." And what's remarkable is that the investigator interrogates. No one knows this terrible secret. The police only suspect that Shin was involved in the Elizabeth case. But there's no evidence to verify it. Their interrogation was primarily about the kidnapping, the disappearance of Elizabeth. More. At that time, the police don't know they're dealing with a serial killer. At the same time, they haven't been able to inspect his house yet, because the search warrant hasn't been approved by the judge. Looking at the House of Terror, if you pay close attention, you'll see on the door of the room small objects. There's a lot of grains of flying around in the house, under a pile of dirty clothes. The police found a badly decomposed body. That's Elizabeth, who's been missing for 3 weeks. Shin has kidnapped a man and confessed to killing Investigator Meyer did not with long experience. He knew Shin might be hiding some dark secrets. Through long conversations, Shin's defensive mentality gradually there was a body in the basement. That's 43-year-old She's a mother of 2 and a drug addict. The 9th of August 2016 security She went to a nail salon in a good mood. After Stacy's done, she drove to the gas station. But when she finished filling up, she found that the tires were broken. I saw Sin at the gas station, so you offered to help. Stacy called her son and told him not to worry. because there's a nice gentleman helping out to thank Stacy for buying Cho
After a
short
cup of
conversation, the two
and
went home.
that
was the last time everyone saw Stacy.
The next day,
alive. Stacy's car
And
was found
Sin took
abandoned on the
$40
road. Goes
in her
back to the
wallet.
whole process. Attacking Stacy with the phone, then killed her, put her body in a garbage bag and
When the
dragged
police
it down
came
to the
to the
house of horror. In addition to being locked in the room, Elizabeth
There are two bodies
and
in the pile of
Stacy's in a
clothes.
garbage bag in the basement. Up to this point, investigators know that
Elizabeth
killed at
killed
least
however,
Stacy. This number is rapidly changing. On the third day of the interview, the indifferent investigator came to see Shin again and asked if there were any other victims he had. In 2006, Shin revealed another girl selling a magazine goes missing. 2007, police find the body of a woman. Clues. They couldn't identify the victim. It wasn't until 2016 that the killer confessed, thanks to advances in DNA technology. The police have now officially confirmed that the remains were from Dina. Tell me your mother met Diana when she was selling and home she paid Diana $40, but then she didn't get the magazine she ordered. So Shin felt that his mother to get his had been cheated. Shin told me how he killed DNA with a very cold expression. He said he went to see DNA, and she was also trying to get him to buy a magazine. Headed towards Shin, he pushed her to the ground and began to strangle her, sticking a knife in Dina's until neck. You stop breathing. And so far Shin has confessed to killing Elizabeth, Condi Stylesi and Dina. But is it over? 2 days after September 17th, investigators, including Inert Cloud and Officer Martin, to judge. Question Shin. Officer Martin said, in Maria County, the neighborhood may be related to Shin. He handled the Rep's missing persons for a long time, and I'm trying to figure out, does Shin have anything to do with it? When I asked for the name Rep Lacer, Shin immediately confessed that he had a problem with her. Shin admitted to the murder, and she's also had a tragic life. Like the other victims, Rebecca gave birth to her first child at the age to satisfy a drug addiction. She started out as a prostitute. Shin met Rebecca in 2015 after he paid $20 for your night. It's pathetic. Why Rep unexpectedly? Shin himself would be killed that night just because Shin thought Rep was trying to steal his money. Only for dollars. The case ended in the 29th of June 2016. After all the truth is revealed, stand in front of the court, Chris turn his eyes 180 degrees. He even wrote a long letter to the media to try to justify his crimes. When journalists write to offer a front he not only agreed, it also provides the psychology of a killer. Singh said, the government killed his victims. They died before, only their bodies survived. Singh to blame for government they stole the souls of the victims. And he's just the one who's done the rest of the work. Singh Krev explained why he kidnapped the professional. Because she wants to marry. But I changed my mind. Elizabeth, according to his words, she was a psychopath and always wanted to kill herself. Haynes is a drug addict. So to kill her is to free society from its burden. Stacy was murdered because you made him angry. Dana was killed and because he tried to steal his magazine. In short, in Mashin all these people deserve to die. That I have committed a crime. 2 years later in April 2018, Shin's trial officially begins. Focus on the 3 cases that happened at the House of Horror. Police say he killed at least 5 women, kidnapping a woman. In the face of hard evidence and during the interrogation, Shin had to admit to the crime. He expressed himself in public. It's a good day for all of you. And for myself, I hope we can get past all of this. I can't say I'm normal, but I know right and left. I just ask you to forgive me. Not today. It's one day. You can and should live your life well. Finally, the death penalty was seen in the form of as recommended by the grand jury. Judgment. Request that the death sentence be carried out on 2 years after being arrested. Number 18. In addition, he was sentenced to life without parole for the murder of Kana and Rep. He continues to appeal. But in December 2020, The Otago State Supreme Court rejected
The date
the
of
appeal.
execution
is
looking
the
back
19th
on
of
Shin's
March
horrific
2025. Perhaps the luckiest
The
thing
calmness
was
and
that he was
courage of the
saved.
professional
Help her become the only survivor. When asked why not kill, Specialized immediately please reply. The other victims protested violently. Only the professional is obedient. So he decided to stay a few more days. In the early years,
But until the
Shin
case is
Wotae
over,
killed a
they
few
killed
months
Elizabeth
apart and Stacy easily. The time between cases is a few weeks. Clearly, if the specialist does not escape, there may be other women who will be Shin's victims. You can't just look at the surface in everyday life. Shin is a quiet and elegant man. It doesn't look like a killer. So no one would have expected that. He's a killer. Ohio's most disgusting series at the time. There are killers when their lives are filled with unhappiness, choosing to inflict pain on the innocent. Violent storms, wiping away all joy and hope. Because I can't take my own pain in hurting others. The victim's eyes filled with pity makes these savages feel good. Let's find out together today. Analysis of the killer's barbaric psychological actions to shake Australia up. The 2000 most. The case occurred in the year 1999 in April of the year 1999. I got a call from police a woman say Mayocha's 30-year-old daughter is dead. After receiving the notice, the police immediately investigated. They asked some of Maya's friends, check out the places you're used to, but I can't find you. But very quickly, on April 17th, the police had a clue. A police officer found a piece of the license of a car. When I opened it, I was surprised to see what was on the paper. There's a female body in the bush near the main road of Penham Police Station. Not only that, there's a warning on the piece of paper. This isn't a joke, so it's best to find out after watching it. The police officer immediately reported the situation to his superiors. To be surprised, because they got to calls on the phone on the evening of April 12th, 5 days ago. The caller said, "It's exactly the same as what's on the piece of paper." An anonymous call. The police went to the relevant locations to search. However, nothing was found. So the police thought this call was a joke after they received an anonymous piece of paper with similar content. They thought it might be another joke. This is a life-related issue, attention. So be careful. They still send the police there. Location on a piece of paper. It's actually next to an abandoned police station is operating. Upon arrival, the police are looking carefully from the area in the designated bush and actually found a female body beneath the leaves and branches. Scene. The police officer immediately called for support. Through a forensic examination, the victim was determined to be 12 after the identity is determined. Police identified the victim as Maya, 30-year-old woman who disappeared days ago. An immigrant from Croatia, living in Adlet. After the forensic results, the case was immediately elevated to strengthen investigation force. Let's take a look at the timeline. The day Maya was killed was April 12th. The police received an anonymous piece of paper and found the body on April 17th. The suspicious police received 2 anonymous calls on the evening of separated by a period of time. Through voice recognition, they identified the 2 calls as the same person. After getting an anonymous call, the police sent someone to search near an abandoned police station in Penham. There's not been any detection. That's because there are 2 abandoned police stations, and they went to the wrong place. Based on this big calls the police on the evening of April 12th. It was done by the unsub, and the note was left under the police car wiper. It was probably written by the unsub on the 17th. The killer did it because he wanted Maya's body discovered. The police did not find her on the 12th. The unsub wrote an anonymous piece of paper to remind the police. Immediately checked the paper. Unfortunately, they didn't find any fingerprints or DNA. Come on up there. Leaving the body near the police station. Contact the police after the crime. It shows the unsub wants to challenge the police because of that. The case is almost closed. The victim is 30 years old. A gentle person with no conflict with AI. Not long before it happened, she quarreled with her mother and moved out after the incident happened. Maya's mother felt very sad and regretful. They didn't argue. Maya will not move out and will not encounter tragedy. Police did not know the true purpose of the murder. This case is like a random one. And if so, it's very difficult to investigate. Time goes by. The police did not receive any reports from witnesses. All the clues are broken. The police couldn't even find a suspect. During the time Maya was harmed, the city is hosting the Adele's with fans from all over the world, falling to Andurils. The police speculated the unsub could be in this audience. They come from everywhere. After the competition, they will return to the country. If that's the case, it's going to be harder to investigate. But these are just completely unfounded assumptions. Didn't have any useful clues. The Adidas police have only one way: support from the public. They're releasing 2 pieces of evidence that they have: an anonymous call recording and an anonymous piece of paper. The report says they heard the unsub's voice or recognized the killer's handwriting. After examining each case, they're not the people the police are looking for. The second victim. 2 years later, the case remains unsolved. But it hasn't stopped. August of that year, Adel's police have encountered another difficult case. On Thursday, the 9th of August, 2001, I got a call about Suzuki a Japanese schoolgirl is missing. You haven't been to class in a few days. The police went to Megami's apartment to check on the situation. They see most of her personal and school supplies are intact. Beneath the bear is a survey statistic filled out and sent it out last weekend. But I'm still in bed. It doesn't seem to have been touched. It seems Megami wasn't at the apartment last weekend. Adelaide police was quick to inform parents of Suzuki Megami, who are in Japan. Your parents said, if their child goes somewhere, then you'll definitely bring that teddy bear you love. But the teddy bear is still at the head of the bed. When I found out that Megami's parents were worried, immediately set off from Japan to Adelaide police reviewed the security cameras in the apartment complex. From the image they saw Megami in the early morning of August 7th, then at 3:08 p.m. the same day she left school. That afternoon she appeared at 1. The mall is called Lenda. It looks like you're walking alone. After leaving the mall, though, you are completely missing. A street maintenance worker called the police because he found a backpack in the grass by the side of the road. This backpack is confirmed to be from a Japanese schoolgirl. The backpack is on the road with her cosmetic textbooks, a bus ticket and a credit card. What's remarkable is that there are 2 commonly used items of Megami. One is a cell phone, and the other one is a CD player. The police identified from the bus ticket, Megami got on the bus on the evening of August 3rd. And she's going in the opposite direction of the apartment. She goes to a gas station and that buys Megami used to make 12 phone calls to an ex-boyfriend. The enemy did not answer the phone. The police speculated Megami could be going to the bus stop near the gas station. Is missing. On this trail, the police went to Megami's ex-boyfriend. You are a local. During the interrogation, the ex-boyfriend was ready to answer any question. What the police didn't ask you said you despite breaking up with Megami, but you two are very good friends. Megami from a foreign country. If you have a problem, you go to your ex-boyfriend. That makes you feel safe. Looks like the ex-boyfriend wasn't the killer either. It's not just because you're more worried about finding Megami. It's because you have enough evening of August 3rd. I wasn't home because I was out with friends. Many friends can testify. The police believe that this alibi is credible with of Megami. After a long journey finally to Adiles, after police and volunteers searched for days without results, Megami parents to make a public statement on television. Call for help from the public. I hope there's a witness who can give us a clue. Every day goes by without any useful information to find while police zeros. Feeling stuck about Megapi's disappearance. Maya's case 2 years ago seems to have a new clue. The year of Maya's murder. The police have released a recording of the call on the police website. Any eye can go online in the early 2000s. The internet was gaining popularity and security. What this means is more and more people have the opportunity to listen to the police release of the recording because seems to have who recognizes who's the speaker in the recording. If the report's name is Stephen Ehrenruss, you tell the police. The voice on the call was his brother's. Mark Ehrenruss. Stephen reporting his words even more credible. Suspects of the case. Stephen's brother, Mark Ehrenruss, Born year 1, ripe 65, is local in Adels. 36 years old, working as a taxi
Mark
driver.
has a criminal record.
Starting at 13 years old. He likes to follow beautiful girls, and there are unhealthy fantasies. Sometimes he even shows
In
his body in front of
Mark
them,
was convicted
causing
of arson.
damage of up to $640,000.
Then he was jailed.
Not only that, he also caused other harassment after that.